Robservations with Robert, Meyer, Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your sommelier of sci-fi and cinema, your archbishop of Banterbury, your evangelist of the imagination, and of course, your existential Mr. Rogers. That's right, me, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I am robcasting at you. You imagination connoisseurs, you members of this, the Post-Geek Singularity community. This is Robservations episode 709. Oh my God. First things first. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kind souls, gentle beings, however you identify across these 28 known galaxies. The short film that Lucas Kendall directed that I edited is now available in physical media form. Yes, when have you ever bought a short film that also not only includes the Blu-ray of the movie, but also the soundtrack? Yes, that's right. Right here, look at this. You can get Skyfighter, award-winning Skyfighter. You've seen it on the Dust channel, but now you can own it. And where can you own it? Well, I'm going to put the link right in the live chat. I'm promoting myself. You know, I make nothing from this but Lucas Kendall would, and he produced it, crowdfunded it, and we got it made. Imagine that. You crowdfund a short film, a 15-minute short film, and hey, not only do you make it, but you get to put it out. It gets picked up by the Dust channel. It wins awards, and now you can own it on physical media. Once again, the it comes out from the Film Score Monthly label too. We thought they were done, but no. Look at that. How cool is that? There it is. Go look in the live chat. Go buy one. Tell Lucas Kendall I sent you. So anyway, the talk of the town right now is, of course, Loki. Well, I guess the talk of imagination connoisseurs everywhere. A lot of thoughts about it. I'm loving the show, for what it is. I think it's a great deal of fun. I am quite digging it. And I just realized I ate something, and I probably have stuff caught in my teeth. Sorry about that. And I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. But what it does is it points to something larger. That a lot of these, even Star Trek Discovery had their short takes. So they're doing, things are branching out beyond just the simple TV show or streaming show or the simple movie. Now there's a weird cross-pollination thing going on that we haven't seen before. The MCU, very successful 23 film run with an average gross of $1 billion spread out all over those 23 movies. Very amazing. Now they have dipped into streaming series. We've got 3 now. We're in the midst of Loki, which follows on the heels of WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I've actually enjoyed all the outputs that they've given us. I find them crazy and interesting and actually daring when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe itself. Adding the time variance authority that came right out of Walt Simons's 80s run on Thor. Pretty amazing. I never thought I would see that happen, but indeed we have. And it's pretty crazy. So Deadline did a piece about this from today. D'Anthony D'Alessandro wrote this in Deadline today, and I found it kind of an overview of what's going on. I wanted to share it. Thought it was interesting. Stream Wars, how TV and VOD became the ultimate complementary companion to theater-built mega franchises. Oh, that reminds me. Regal Cinemas has acquired the ArcLight Sherman Oaks. In the wake of the bankruptcy of Pacific Theaters, the owners of the ArcLight, we've now seen the first of the ArcLights be acquired by a different company, that is Regal Cinemas. That's in Sherman Oaks. Hopefully our own local Pasadena ArcLight will also be acquired by Regal or someone, because it was nice to be able to go there to see movies close to home. I could walk there if I wanted to, so that's a good thing. But anyway, how TV and VOD became the ultimate complementary companion to theater-built mega franchises. As streaming encroaches on the theatrical window, the overwritten notion by the media during the pandemic has been that cinema is dead. When it comes to streamers, however, the truth is they still can't live without the movie theater. As fresh streaming services make waves in the fiercely competitive space, it's big screen IP that's driving eyeballs. Disney announced during its Investor Day back in December that the studio plans to invest up to $16 billion worldwide on consumer content for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN through 2024. And it's the feature franchises and recently acquired 20th Century Studios library that the studio plans to exploit in amassing premium content and meeting the demands of binge-hungry consumers. And it's not just Disney that sees future revenues in franchises that the big screen has birthed, but Warner Media's HBO Max as well. And by the way, it's also The Many Saints of Newark is the Sopranos prequel film. People have said it might debut in Telluride, so The Sopranos has birthed a theatrical component as well. So we're seeing it go two ways, same way like, the X-Files birthed two feature films. We had a $13 billion box office in 2019, and that's not something to sneeze at. We built those franchises through the theatrical window, says Disney's CEO Bob Chapek at the studio's December Investor Day about the grease that's running its Disney Plus conveyor belt. It was much more of an opportunity and something that excited me when Disney Executive Chairman and former CEO Bob Iger asked us to start working on shows for Disney Plus, said Marvel boss Kevin Feige at the TCA Winter Tour in February. Aside from its new The Mighty Ducks Game Changers series based on the popular 1990s movie, and such series as Turner and Hooch, based on the 1989 Tom Hanks Canine Touchstone comedy film, the aorta of Disney Plus capitalizations on legacy cinema material is this: roughly 10 Marvel series, 10 Star Wars series, and 15 live-action animation and Pixar series are being launched over the next few years. That was another piece of news to come out of Disney's Investor Day per a statement by Kareem Daniel, chairman of Disney's Media and Entertainment Distribution. If anything, Disney Plus hasn't buried the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but rather has enhanced it. The streaming service has become an outlet where Feige and his team can expand the storylines of secondary characters they normally couldn't chiefly focus on in the comic book movies, like Wanda Maximoff and Vision in the first MCU Disney Plus series, WandaVision, Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Thor's Loki, whose self-titled series dropped June 9th. Feige is using these Disney Plus MCU shows to weave in and out of the label's big screen movies. The cliffhanger of WandaVision will dovetail into the feature sequel Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which opens in cinemas on March 25th, 2022, while The Falcon and the Winter Soldier will form a bridge to Wilson's turn as the Black Captain America in a new film continuation of that superhero from creator Malcolm Spellman. The upcoming Black Widow feature on July 9th tips off to the upcoming Hawkeye series with Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. I didn't know Yelena Belova was that. Florence Pugh apparently crushes it as Yelena Belova. In regards to concerns over whether Disney Plus and the MCU shows will cannibalize the future box office of the brand superhero movies, which have grossed well over $22.5 billion, Feige isn't worried. He told Deadline back in January, as long as the series are different, as long as they're unique and some of the characters might cross over and the Marvel logo's at the front, if they're unique and interesting stories, that doesn't go out of style. Loki's obviously doing very well, and he's not wrong. Beyond Loki and the interconnected Disney Plus and Cinema MCU and the upcoming Black Widow, there's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which will play exclusively in cinemas starting Labor Day weekend, and Eternals, which debuts only on the big screen on November 5th. Sprinkled and not dated yet on Disney Plus for the remainder of the year are such MCU series as Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, ooh, was that this year, and possibly She-Hulk. Wrapping up in 2021 will be the theatrical release of Marvel Sony's Spider-Man No Way Home on December 17th in movie theaters, another movie into which WandaVision is rumored to feed. And how is the MCU doing on Disney Plus? While the studio doesn't report viewership figures, Disney said the weekend premiere of Falcon and Winter Soldier was its most watched series ever. Third-party streaming stats service Samba TV, which only monitors some terrestrial TVs, backed up that claim at the time, reporting that 1.7 million U.S. households tuned into the Spellman-created series for at least 5 minutes, besting the 1.6 million who turned into WandaVision's opening. While Disney has remained quiet about the success of Loki, Samba TV has exclaimed that the series' first day of 890,000 UK households is the best viewership for Disney Plus ever, in addition to the show's first 5-day draw of 2.5 million views. While Disney Plus subscribers hit 103.6 million worldwide as of April 6, fell under the 109 million plus hoped for by Wall Street analysts, Disney opted to put its upcoming summer tentpoles, Marvel's Black Widow and Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt's Jungle Cruise, on its PVOD part of the service premiere for an extra charge of $29.99 to subscribers, a maneuver that could help the studio to bump its sub base even further over the summer. Again, Disney has said nothing about Cruella, their other theatrical Disney Plus premiere title, which dropped over Memorial Day weekend. Samba TV reported that 686,000 U.S. households watched the Emma Stone movie. That translates into close of $21 million of extra revenue, which Disney gets to keep and not share with theaters. By Sunday through 4 weekends, Cruella will have made $64.4 million at the domestic box office, and that $21 extra million is not bad. The other opportunity for studios when it comes to building out cinema IP on streaming is that they can tell deeper stories without damaging a franchise at the box office. In the wake of Disney acquiring Lucasfilm for $4.5 billion, there was a plan to build out the Star Wars films in similar fashion to the MCU, with standalone character films such as Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. The first of these character movies, Solo: A Star Wars Story, bombed at the global box office with $392.9 million from a $275 million production cost and marketing fee. This created a lot of concern among Disney and Lucasfilm brass as to whether they hurt the Golden Goose. No, they did that with Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. It was then that Disney decided to pivot. Obi-Wan became a Disney Plus series with Ewan McGregor reprising his classic role from episodes 1 through 3, and Boba Fett morphed into 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, plus his own upcoming TV show, The Book of Boba Fett, which hits the service this fall. The famed bounty hunter made his Disney Plus debut in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, played by Tamora Morrison, the same actor who portrayed his father Jango in Attack of the Clones. Warner Media also has movies on the mind and is emulating a similar plan to Disney's in adapting feature films into spin-off series, although less aggressively. A Harry Potter series is rumored to be in early development for its streaming service HBO Max, this despite the fact that there aren't any writers attached yet. Aside from J.K. Rowling, I would probably add. Casey Bloys, Chief Content Officer at HBO and HBO Max, told Deadline earlier this year, "There's nothing in development, but I think it's fair to say across Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and DC, these are franchises Warner Media enjoys, and it's a big advantage for us, so there's always going to be interest in doing something of quality from those properties." 2 big upcoming DC series on HBO Max include The Peacemaker, based on John Cena's mercenary character from the upcoming James Gunn-directed movie Suicide Squad, out August 6th. There's also a new series in the works, a prequel to Matt Reeves' upcoming 2022 The Batman movie, which the filmmaker Sixth and Idaho is producing with Joe Barton showrunning. The series will focus on the corruption in Gotham that goes back several years and is told from the point of view of a crooked cop. Recently, HBO Max saw a pop in viewers per Samba TV from the release of the 4-hour-plus version of Justice League The Snyder Cut, with 1.8 million U.S. households watching in the first 5 days. That number ranked behind the studio's drop of Wonder Woman 84 over Christmas 2020 weekend, which drew 2.2 million U.S. households. The Snyder-directed DC ensemble, unlike Wonder Woman 84, did not receive a theatrical release. Even Netflix wants its own franchises, but alas, largely for its streaming service. Well before Snyder's zombie heist movie Army of the Dead dropped on the service May 21, Netflix had already greenlit an anime series spin-off of the film and a future prequel movie directed by and starring Matthias O. Schweighöfer, which follows his character Ludwig Dieter. Army of the Dead, which had a week's exclusive theatrical run in limited theaters and made around 800,000, tied with George Clooney's The Midnight Sky as the 9th most watched movie on Netflix with 72 million global households. That's a lot of people. The experimentation with theatrical windows has accelerated during the pandemic, chiefly due in part to the closure of theaters worldwide for a majority of 2020. Warner Media relegated its feature theatrical slate to day and date in cinemas and on HBO Max for this year only. Meanwhile, Disney cherry-picked which titles went straight to the service, like Pixar's Luca and Soul, or became available on its premier PVOD tier day and date. Chapek has mentioned that Disney's response to this has been strictly a matter of being flexible in meeting consumers' ongoing and continually changing demands. When we release a new piece of content, people are lined up at midnight to watch it as soon as it goes live on the streaming service. I don't think people have that much patience, he said recently at JP Morgan's Global Technology, Media, and Communications Conference. Warner Brothers has reported that it will respect a 45-day theatrical window on 2022 releases and beyond. However, it remains to be seen if Disney will continue to practice a Disney Plus premiere theatrical day and date strategy into next year. While this continues to raise ire amongst distributors or exhibitors, it's evidence that cinema and its propping of franchises is the engine that indeed leads streaming by the nose. The two, no doubt, cannot live without the other. Said Chapek during a February earnings call about Disney Plus, the best insulation we've got is to keep the price and value relationship very high, and there's no better way to do it than powerhouse franchises cranking out regular new releases on a monthly basis. So obviously, not a lot of earth-shattering knowledge here, but still very interesting when it comes, we're living in a world now where, obviously, as I've said on the show before, I am a firm believer that a theatrical release ups the value of a movie substantially. I mean, movies that go into theaters, there's still a prestige to them. There is any filmmaker wants their movie to go theatrical. Hopefully I'll have news about Tango Shalom doing that very thing shortly. There's big doings going on with our little movie, which is, I can't talk about it right now, but it's looking pretty promising. I'm pretty excited about it. So we shall see. But going theatrical is still the way. I mean, that's how you generate interest. That's how people know your movie's out there. I have a feeling, or I feel like when things drop, I mean, Anton Fuqua's Infinite with Mark Wahlberg dropped on Amazon, or Without Remorse dropped on Amazon. And I feel that, once they drop, they like ripples in a pond, the ripples go away. They don't really resonate. It's like, oh yeah, that movie, I forgot about that. But when movies are released theatrically, they've got a lasting legacy in the pop culture landscape that I think you cannot deny. And it's unfortunate when movies don't get to go theatrical. And I want to see movie theaters. Thank God Regal stepped in and picked up the ArcLight Sherman Oaks. I want to see movies get theatrical releases. I don't want to live in a world where we can't go to the movie theaters anymore. I still like to hear a film with big sound. I mean, Black Widow is going to be opening at the Chinese and IMAX. Showing! Yes, please. I want to go see it there, because wouldn't that be great? I think it would be great. It sounds good. I want to see now the Matrix Resurrection, or Resurrections, Matrix Resurrections. Is it Matrix Resurrection or Matrix Resurrections? It sounds pretty wacky, a meta concept behind it. I don't want to see that shit on streaming. I want to see it in the theater. I want to see it big in a theater. And by God, I hope Juno Reactor comes back with Don Davis to score that goodness, because by God, do I love Juno Reactor. Mona Lisa Overdrive, or better known as the car chase music in The Matrix Reloaded. Bring on Resurrection. And the idea that Keanu Reeves in the movie works for Warner Brothers as a game designer, and that the 3 Matrix movies are actually games in the new world of the Matrix. Come on, man. I'm so there for that. I'm down with that meta. I'm down with the meta. Very excited. Very excited. Where did I get that information? Well, apparently there was a big leak that Warner Brothers copyright struck a channel where somebody reported on that, so it's true. Apparently the movie was screened the other day. I'm there for it. I can't wait. I do not want to see that stuff in the on streaming. But I think it's really important. I mean, I like this synergistic relationship. Like, I thought we'd see more of that when the X-Files did Fight the Future, and it came out like with the 5th season, that whole thing. But we haven't. I always thought that, they did Star Trek movies. Obviously, Star Trek The Next Generation went off the air. Then they did Generations, which came out 6 months later. And, of course, Deep Space Nine was already on the air. So they had multiple Star Trek shows on the air while movies were coming out. And I've always thought, why don't other franchises do that same kind of thing, as long as the shows are good and the movies are good? Unfortunately, neither X-Files nor the Star Trek franchise really has lived up to the potential there. The Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be the first time that this kind of synergy is really working. Despite what you might think of WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, and Loki, they are drawing a lot of eyeballs. People are talking about them, great social media presence. And I'm like with everything else, I'm very much enjoying the MCU's offerings on TV. Could be very, very cool. So, I mean, I think that's exciting. Why not? Bring it on. This letter comes to us from our friend Omar94. It's a quick one. Hi, Rob, moderators, and the Post-Geek Singularity. This is a little late, but another movie anniversary is upon us. June 14th, 2021 marks the 30th anniversary of the Kevin Reynolds movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which came out on June 14th, 1991. This was one of 3 Robin Hood projects being developed at the same time. This one was made by Morgan Creek and Warner Brothers, while the other 2 were being developed at 20th Century Fox and TriStar. However, those other 2 projects never got made. The film was a huge commercial success, becoming the second highest grossing film worldwide of 1991 behind Terminator 2, and also had a successful tie-in song from Bryan Adams, Everything I Do, in parentheses, I Do For You. Starring in the film were Kevin Costner, Alan Rickman, Morgan Freeman, and Christian Slater. Something interesting I found out about the casting is how in another life we might have had a Princess Bride reunion, as Carrie Elwes and Robin Wright were approached to be Robin Hood and Marion. Elwes turned it down while Wright was cast but dropped out due to becoming pregnant. Elwes ended up portraying Robin Hood 2 years later in the 1993 Mel Brooks spoof movie Robin Hood, Men in Tights. On a personal note, while I'm glad the film was profitable and I like the acting performances from Rickman and Morgan Freeman, I really don't hold the film in high regard. Out of all the Robin Hood movies I've seen, I wouldn't rank it very high. I still think the best Robin Hood movie ever made is 1938's Errol Flynn version, The Adventures of Robin Hood. I would agree with you, Omar. Thanks, and live long and prosper. Well, thanks for writing in. I very much appreciate it. So, yeah. Now, let's see. What is the next letter I'm going to read? You know, I've had this thing that I've been holding on to, and I actually need to find it. But this one comes to us from Cinema Gulp. Cinema Gulp, this actually was way back written for the 700th episode of Robservations that I somehow didn't see. So here it comes. Cinema Gulp says, this October finally marks the long-awaited release of the French Dispatch by one of my favorite filmmakers, and Elizabeth's too, Wes Anderson, a film that has been twice delayed due to the pandemic. Yes, the announcement came early last week and also mentioned it will see its debut at Cannes this July. In addition to bringing back most of the Wes Anderson players, he has added Elizabeth Moss, Christoph Waltz, Benicio del Toro, and Timothée Chalamet to his ever-growing roster of amazing talent. With returning music supervisor Randall Poster, cinematographer Bob Yeoman, and a score by Alexandre Desplat, this is sure to be an interesting and engaging Anderson film. I personally cannot wait to finally get to see his latest live-action Anderson movie, since his last film was Isle of Dogs, which I really enjoyed. His last live-action effort was one of my favorite films of his, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Rob, on or near your 700th episode, please allow me to indulge in what was my favorite film of 2014 and one of my favorites from Anderson. Grand Budapest marked a new era of Wes Anderson's style, with his biggest influences, including such films as The Graduate, Lola, Armicord, and Tokyo Story. He managed to create a new world here that mixed comedy, caper, and period drama. It's everything you love about an Anderson-styled film, filled with extremely colorful characters, iconic performances, unusual twists and turns, but even more than usual. Grand Budapest, like The Life Aquatic, takes unconventionally unexpected turns toward violence when least expected, clobbering you with graphic dialogue and smash-mouth brutality in the midst of a tender, quirky screwball story. Like the Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, and Moonrise Kingdom, it also showers you with beauty, melancholy, and heart, all in the wake of their placebo happy endings. Grand Budapest, however, stands on its own merits as an ambitious film that not only takes risks, but work to make you care for what is happening on screen, as well as become fascinated with it. It's a deep gaze into a fictional country filled with wonderfully crafted and created elements and inventions, such as the inclined commuter trolley that takes you sideways up to the hotel grounds, and power baths where hotel guests get a unique and relaxing bathing experience via large individual Turkish-style tubs. The film is so rich in detail and so inventive in capturing not only a fictional landscape but an entire society. The matte paintings used to display the background on wider shots are breathtaking and self-referential. The interior design of the hotel itself is like nothing you've ever seen before. This is where Anderson shines the most. He visualizes a world, one that no one else could create, and then surrounds himself with the perfect talent who share the same vision. The imagination and craft that went into creating not only the aesthetic of the filmmaking, but the set design is so enveloping and wondrous. The film is such a good example of technical filmmaking, blending perfectly with the talent and visual crafting. Ralph Fiennes is spectacular in the title role of M. Gustav, the hotel's head concierge, and uses the Anderson-created language to flourish in its sophistication. It's as if Fiennes was born a native of the fictional Republic of Zbrokwa, as he seems to relish in its culture. The uniquely written dialogue of the language, as well as its currency, give hints to the film's main influence, which was a vehement anti-nationalist and public defier of the war. The hotel itself stands on a landmass in between these wars, up top a large-scaled mountain, also shown as a matte painting. The film feels similar in tone to other Anderson pieces, but quickly turns into a mystery caper once Gustav is framed for murder. Then when Gustav goes to prison, the film's second lead takes over. This is Lobby Boy Zero, played by the very confident Tony Revolari. His character is essentially the one narrating the film. The story within a story element has been used before, but Anderson uses it so effectively, changing the aspect ratio that only aids in the magical nature in the history of the hotel. The supporting cast are all excellent, especially F. Murray Abraham as the much older version of Zero and the hotel's current owner. Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, and Judd Law all have effective and funny moments, especially Law and Dafoe. The fact that Anderson never shies away from ugly truths, even in a film as fun and as good-spirited as this, is a true sign of his creative talent. We love these characters. We experience things with them and laugh, but we also feel the tension, and it never escapes Gustav throughout the film, regardless of his demeanor and self-confidence. The underlining danger that sits just moments from the doors of the hotel is present and itching to show its ugly face. This fictional land created a surreal depiction of an old reality that was faced by those before it, and Anderson knows that this hotel is the last safe haven that has yet to be touched by the approaching war. Through all the film's hilarity, the undertones of war are there, and the way the film concludes is a perfect example of no matter how far away you are from it, it's still there sharing the universe with you. And this film's utter tragic end gives the viewer a gut punch that sticks with them long after watching the film. The simple existence of this film tells us a few things. 1, Ralph Fiennes may be the best character actor of our generation. 2, Wes Anderson is still one of the most prolific, talented, and aesthetically pleasing directors of his generation. 3, places like the Grand Budapest Hotel exist only in our imaginations, and that's what makes it so special. I love this film, and I still find it extremely rewatchable, as I do most of Anderson's work. It's original, fun, funny, tense, and full of heart. To this day, it's still his biggest financial success, earning a worldwide gross of $173 million on a $25 million budget. It was also nominated for several Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematographer, Best Editing, and Original Screenplay. It took home 4 Oscars for set design, costume design, hair, and makeup, as well as for the beautiful Alexandre Desplat score. A real big win for both Anderson and Fox Searchlight. Thanks for letting me talk about it here, Rob. If you couldn't tell, I'm a huge fan of Anderson and giddy as hell about his newest film. It's these things that make me grateful to be back in theaters. Congratulations on the big 700th show, sir. Also, my first experience back in theaters was for A Quiet Place Part 2, and I posted the non-spoiler review on our channel if you're interested. Well, heck, I am, but so might our viewers, and let me put that link in the live chat. So, there you go. Thanks for writing that at Cinema. I very much appreciate Cinema. Like them a lot. Like that channel too. So thanks for writing in. Very exciting. This one comes from Martin Lawrence. Martin writes in and says, "Greetings and salutations, Rob. I was watching the John Campea show the other day, and the possibility of Spider-Man joining the Sonyverse was brought up after the comments from Sony hinted as such. I have a theory that maybe wasn't discussed. Sony said after No Way Home we would have a better understanding of Spider-Man's place. No Way Home is delving into the multiverse. What if Spider-Man joining Sony wasn't the Marvelverse incarnation, but an alternate one? I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Sincerely, Martin Lawrence." Well, Martin, that's not a bad idea. I mean, they already have Miles Morales, so it could very well be that. Could be. I can absolutely see that happening. But yeah, I think, look, it's going to be interesting. I've always believed that seeing J. Jonah Jameson, seeing the Sam Raimi J. Jonah Jameson, obviously, J.K. Simmons, that incarnation of the character, that they brought him back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, in the Sonyverse, Sony/Marvel. I think that was our first indication that the multiverse has something wrong with it. And we're going to see that play out, I think, in Spider-Man. And then, of course, after Loki, then Spider-Man, which takes place after, of course, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Spider-Man Far From Home, if memory serves, was, 8 months after people returned from the blip? I don't remember. It was 8 months, 3 months. But WandaVision took place 3 weeks after. So whatever's going on with the multiverse, it was starting to affect our universe at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. So it'll be interesting to see where all of that winds up, because I don't know where that's going to be. So, I think we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see, I think. Let's see. What else do I got here? Not much. I didn't ask Mike. Mike didn't send me any more letters today. I'm sure there's lots of letters. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's jump over there, shall we? First, we've got Willow. Willow writes in. Willow says, "What did you think of the Enterprise episode Similitude?" I don't know about denobulan medical ethics, but you can't harvest someone's organs without their consent, even if the procedure had been non-fatal. What is it with the disdain toward clones? Well, that's come on, I think Willow, waiting. But didn't you review this? Didn't you? I don't know if you did or not. I think you did, or maybe you didn't. Are you going to review it? I don't know if you did. But look, what do I think? I think, as you've pointed out, there's a lot of problematic moral and ethical questions that Enterprise deals with that I don't know if they come out on the right side of it. And the fact that they basically kill... What? Do they kill him? I don't remember. Do they kill him? They have a clone of Trip Tucker, sort of a clone, and they use it to harvest, if memory serves, to save his life, basically. And what are the moral implications of that? I mean, I think we've seen it. If you want to watch one of my favorite... people don't think of it as such. Sends in a diamond super chat sticker. Thank you for that. By the way, has not just been officially made the podcast of host of Midnight Metal along with me, co-host. My favorite movie that deals with this subject, and we've seen it in The Island, but is Never Let Me go. If you haven't seen Never Let Me Go, Willow, please watch it. It is a beautiful and devastating movie that deals with this. I think it's bad. I think using this, there's a weird thing about clones, that people think clones, for some reason, just because they're reproductions of people using their genetic material, they're somehow not real people. Of course they are. But this idea, I mean, all the way back to the movie Parts, the Clonus horror, and stuff like The Island, the idea that the rich will clone themselves and eventually take back their internal organs or organs at all to save their own lives is weird. I don't understand where people get that idea. This idea that either that, or it's like John Logan's script for Star Trek Nemesis, which, a clone does not, you don't have a connection to your clone. There's no psychic connection. A clone is a human being. Assuming, you know what? I don't know if there actually are clones. Maybe there are. Maybe super science has given us clones and we don't even know it yet. But they're just people. They're the same as any other people. So if you have a clone, I mean, I know it's some alien-derived clone and all that, but still, it's still a human being. Now, they always in science fiction shows make it different. That's why I watch Never Let Me Go. Well, this clone's been rapidly aged, whatever, but I still think, look, clones are people too, man. Hashtag clones are people too. I've always believed that. That's where I'm at with that. 200 Watt Studio sends in a super chat and says, "Hi Rob, on today's Midnight Metal, you missed my $10 super chat about Basic Instinct 4. Did I? Let me go back. Let me look, because I've got it right here somewhere. Look how I can go back and see what happened in the past. Here it is. 200 Watt Studio sends in a super chat and says, "Did you get your Basic Instinct yet? I got mine, a little disappointed in the new teal and orange color grading, but the new retrospectives with Verhoeven, Stone, DeBont, and Esterhaus are metal. You know what? I would agree with you. I think there's a little too much teal and orange in the movie. I felt that. And I too was a little disappointed. I did get mine. I got two versions of it. I got the Steelbook and I still think it looks fantastic. But yeah, I mean, the color grading, I would have liked Jan de Bont to have been involved with that color grading. But yeah, that's how I felt. I felt it's not too bad. Maybe somebody else will come out and say it is, but it's not too bad. It still has a great look to it, but you can kind of really notice it when you see the sea and a lot of the sky, the blue sky over San Francisco. I don't understand how that happens. I don't get that, but it looks 1,000 times better than Basic Instinct has ever looked on home video. But still, it did bother me, just so you know. Sorry about missing your super chat. By the way, more people will see it on the show anyway. So there you go. Stubble McShave says, finally, Carrie Fisher has got her star on the Walk of Fame. I only wish she had gotten it before she passed. Yes, she's getting it, and it is kind of a bummer she never got to live to see it, but it's kind of neat that it's there. The Shogun Orta asks about if I've ever seen the film On the Silver Globe. I have not. That's Andrei Zulewski's unfinished, right? The unfinished Polish science fiction film that he was making that actually got stopped mid-production or toward the end of production by the government. It didn't apparently live up to the communist ideal. I've never seen it, and you know what? Somebody, I think it was in Austin, they played it. Down in Austin at some film society, they played the movie. It exists. What of it exists, and you can see it. I've never seen it. I'm dying to see it. It's one of those movies I've never seen. I've always wanted to, and I'm dying to see it. So Shogun Orta, no, I haven't, and I hope to. Twin Flick sends in a super chat. That was probably a super chat sticker, was it not? Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Jeff Yerke and Mrs. Yerke send in a tip. Hi, Rob. Getting better every day. Wanted to report in that the lovely Laurel and I are doing a complete rewatch of all Jean-Pierre Melville's films. Jean-Pierre Melville has become our favorite French director and a master of the heist genre. Live long and prosper. The Yerk Man. Oh, I'm a huge Jean-Pierre Melville fan. I mean, I have Army of Shadows, and I have Le Samurai, and I have The Red Circle. Dieter got me a 4K version of The Red Circle, Le Cercle Rouge. I'm a huge fan of Melville. He's great. Bob Le Flambeur. I'm a big fan. So, yes, I enjoy that rewatch because what delightful movies there are. Stubble McShave sends in a tip and says, Prince of Thieves may have flaws, but it stays true to the central concept of the original. Robin Hood is more of a romantic story with action moments than a story about a great fighter. Prince of Thieves captures that. It's pretty good, despite accents. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Roger Grine, is it Grine? Is it Grine? I forget. Roger Grine says, "Hey Rob, as much as I dislike Star Trek Discovery and Picard, the soundtracks are gorgeous. What do you think?" Well, I'll grant you that the music isn't bad, but I miss themes. I mean, if you're going to go back to I really do miss the thematic elements. I mean, the original series had such great music, and I was kind of hoping. I know people kind of shy away from that, but I mean, I don't mind the music. But again, thematically, I'd like to hear more out of all of that music because to me, that's what Star Trek is. But you're right. I mean, if I was gonna say anything good about Picard and Discovery, I think the music is not bad. Not bad. So, yeah. Key Lime Killer sends in a tip and says, "Hey, Rob, I know you like Jameson, but have you ever tried Proper 12 whiskey?" When I see that, I'm like, Proper 12-year-old whiskey, which I have, or is there actually a whiskey called Proper 12? I've had many 12-year-old whiskeys, but I've never tried a Proper 12 whiskey. I really enjoy it. Well, Key Lime Killer, that's now on my radar. I didn't know there was a Proper 12 whiskey, but I do now, and if I see it, I'll have to get it. Sam Phillip sends in a tip and says, "Hi, Rob, love the show. Will we ever get to see a full Blu-ray collection video?" Yes, that's coming probably this week. probably this week. Indeed it is. So that's exciting. Sam, I know a lot of people have asked about that. So I've got a few more things to put together in the Robservatory, and then you will, in fact, get a proper collection video. I don't know quite how to do it. I mean, do I pan over it? Do I do it slowly? I put up a few videos on Instagram, far away from my collection, but I'm sure everybody wants to see everything close up, so I pan right by the titles, so you can read them, so you can see what movies I own. Our friend Todd Michael, who we just had a very nice conversation with on the member chat. By the way, thanks everybody for coming in. Thank you all your members of the channel. It's always nice to see your faces. It's pretty fun to do our member chats. If you decide to become a member of the show at a certain level, we do our Zoom chats every other week. We're going to do one next week. So if you want to become a member of the channel and support the channel that way, which is always very much appreciated, next week we're going to do a Zoom chat, and that's to see everybody. And remember, Zoom chats on this channel, short Zoom chats, 2 hours. Some can last up to 5. I just can't get enough of you lovely people, so it's always great to have a good Zoom chat. So Todd Michael says, after the many hours of listening to you broadcast, I don't think I know what you think of the Filmoniverse animated Star Wars. After decades of not caring about Star Wars, the Clone Wars and Rebels rekindled my interest in ways I did not imagine. The Bad Batch has been a joy to watch, and I eagerly await for Friday mornings. The unexpected female clone Omega is incredibly well written and actually has to learn and be trained to grow as a character. Thoughts on Filoniverse animation? Well, I'll tell you, I started out when the theatrical Clone Wars film was released. My friend Steve Melching got a credit on it. I was not that impressed. It was a little goofy, and the Clone Wars, I thought the first couple of episodes were actually pretty good. There was one about that Dreadnought, that 2-parter. And aside from, the first 2 seasons, but then it grew into its own, and I've really enjoyed the Clone Wars. I thought the Clone Wars was great. I own the entire series on Blu-ray. I really love the series. I even like the animation style. A lot of people were put off by it, but I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, I really did enjoy the Clone Wars. I thought the last 2 seasons I thought were terrific. The the last 2 seasons, the Lost Years, and then the end of the series. I think of them as the whole thing, but I think they're great. I've watched a little bit of Rebels. I watched it when it first started, but I'm behind on it. It was just something, and not because I didn't like it. I liked it. I just get too busy and go back and I've got to catch up. But I like Rebels too, from what I saw of it. And I think both shows are great. I think they really expanded the Star Wars mythology. I really liked how they built on the universe. They added a lot more lore, and I love the fact that they're leaning into it in The Mandalorian, so they've made the jump. It's kind of neat how the Star Wars prequels set up the Clone Wars. After Attack of the Clones, we saw the end of the Clone Wars with Revenge of the Sith, and then we've got the whole Clone Wars in between, and now we're jumping back into live action. You went into animation for a decade and a half, and now we're back into live action with The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. I think it's great. I really enjoy the series. I think it's great. Simon Gilmore says, "Don't talk to Twin Flicks. He's bad news." Well, you would know. You would know. I don't think he's bad news. Neither do I think you are bad news, Mr. Gilmore. Always a pleasure. Well, you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kind souls, gentle beings, I am going to bring this chat. I know it's only 45 minutes, right? I'm going to bring this chat to a close because I got things to do. Midnight Metal is on tonight, of course, with Mr. Dave Parker. No guests to announce yet, but should be fun. And of course, you know her, you love her. She's coming back next week, and she's going to be co-hosting Midnight Metal on Fridays with me. By the way, Twin Flicks. Simon Gilmore says, "Don't talk to Twin Flicks. He's bad news." Oh, but you retracted that message, but I can see it. I can see it, Simon. Yeah, well, you wait, what, you said something else. Are you guys fighting? Are you kids fighting in the live chat? What's going on there? What's happening? Well, it's kind of funny. I like it. But anyway, so you'll see me. Remember, you can get that link. You can get the new Skyfighter. Come on. 15-minute short film and even less music. Who wouldn't want a CD copy of all of this? I don't know. I think it's great. I love getting merch of my own work, and I put it up on my wall of greatness above me of all the things I've worked on. But yeah, so I'm going to bring this chat to an end because I got things I've got to do. So anyway, kind souls, gentle beings from across the 28 known galaxies, this ends Robservations episode number 709. It's Saturday. You should all go have a good time. I don't know what you're doing. Join us tonight on Midnight Metal if you're in Europe and want to get up early. And if you're not in Europe and you're here, stay up all night. Stay up with us. The funnest late night show. Funnest. There's no such word as funnest. The most fun late night show on YouTube. Midnight Metal. Join us, as the Evil Dead would say. And on that note, I want to thank my moderating staff. There's a lot of you. There's Brian Hepburn. You're here. There's Joshua Levesque. There's Louise X. Sparrow. There's Simon Gilmore. There's Twin Flicks, who's, by the way, another Gilmore. Wow, look at all this. I've got a whole full house. I want to thank those Blue Wrenches for all the work they do. Without them, where would we be in life? I need a moderator in my regular life, actually. Somebody should follow me around and stop me from saying stupid things. But, unfortunately, it's too late for that. Anyway, I want to thank all of you for supporting the channel via Super Chats and Tips. And if you want to send me a letter, you can at the Burnettwork.net website. Go there, check it out, all kinds of things. And also, I was talking on the member chat, we got some new shows happening on the Burnettwork. If you're interested in making a YouTube show, we've already got an installed base. You can put your show on. We have a partner program, and you can go, again, to the Burnettwork.net website and read all about it. We have the parameters of how that would work. And, of course, if you did make a YouTube show, you would certainly stand to profit participate on all that ad revenue, which could be fun. And hopefully build an audience. And, of course, it's mutually beneficial. You get an audience, and hopefully our audience gets even bigger, which is a benefit to everyone. If it's a problem, then you have to call a Blade Runner. But if it's a benefit, it's not his problem. Anyway, I don't know what that means. It's totally nonsensical and probably pretty stupid. So it was a bad analogy, but I was already in it before I thought about how bad it was. Making a Blade Runner joke that wasn't a joke, so I apologize for that. But remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen. And on that note, I would say to all of you, have a better day. And join us at midnight tonight for Midnight Metal.